Yeah, we're Canadian Bavarian Millwork, family-run business. So this is just compressed sawdust. There's no binders, adhesives, glues, or anything in this. And so it's just done with pressure, and the sawdust or chips are just put together, and it's used for home heating applications. So it burns, they burn hot, but very clean. They stack nicely. So in earlier days, sawdust was a waste product, and we had to pay to get rid of it, or went to landfill, or I'm not sure, you know, what was burning it, or but now it's not. Now it's a value-add product. We can make these briquettes for home heating purposes. So these are dry kilns, and what they're used for is to dry wood. You need to dry wood because for further processing and for especially interior applications, you need the wood to be stable and to be dried. Well, once it's dry, it's you're going to have less movement in the wood than if you put something in your house and it's 50% moisture content. As it dries in the house, it's going to move around. It'll shrink. You'll have gaps. If you're using it for flooring, it would have big gaps. It wouldn't go together properly, right? So you have to dry it down to a moisture content that's suitable for the application. Usually somewhere in the range of 8 to 12% moisture content. A dry kiln, these are like big ovens. Usually these things are heated with natural gas boilers, but in our case, we actually burn some of our excess sawdust, and we use that to then the boilers heat up water, and the hot water then goes in, and that's what brings the heat to our ovens, to our kilns. So this is hemlock material. The coast, you know, the forests are made up in large part by hemlock, so 60% thereabouts, and yeah, it historically was kind of looked at as a low value log, and you know, we're finding lots of solutions to increase the value of that log, and in this particular case, we're using some of the clear products for this will be tongue and groove ceiling. So this is a much smaller biomass system. This you open and you can put chunks of wood in, right? So this will burn the chunks of wood at very high temperatures, very efficient burning, and then it heats up water storage tanks, and then that runs through the radiant doors in the production building there. So this is essentially like a big fireplace, like a big insert, right? So this has a big firebox in it, and because this biomass system is meant to burn chunks of wood. We look over here, all this waste over here, that'll all be burned in this system. Like so, old pallets, old dunnage, old lath, can all get burned in here. With it being thick like this, it gives us a lot of options. So if a customer wants 1.5 inches wide or 1.5 inches thick by, you know, the width of the board, we can slice it. So we can slice 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inch, 3 inch. It just gives us versatility with the piece of wood, what we can do with it, right? So we supply a lot of carving wood to First Nation artists. They particularly like the yellow cedar, right? So nice wide yellow cedar boards. Generally doesn't have to be too long, you know, what they need for their carvings. These are our biomass. So these are the ones that heat the big shop in the kilns. Yeah, nice flame. So that's burning sawdust, and the sawdust just comes in with an auger, and it's just fed. You know, there's a software that controls how much sawdust it feeds, right? Yeah. And that burns, and that heats these pipes, and off the hot water goes to do its thing. So these burners work in a very controlled environment. So the amount of oxygen, you know, it's all controlled in there to ensure you get a very clean and efficient burn, right? So if you look at the smokestack from these, you can't even notice any smoke coming out of it, right? Compared to what you'd see if you were burning wet wood in a campfire, which is just, you're very dirty. This load actually is I think from an old bridge in the San Juan. So we will take that wood and the cedar. So there's, you know, the sapwood's rotted away, but you go in, you know, even 1 centimeter, and this will be solid, you know, perfect, pristine wood. Yeah, you know, so it's nice. Like look how straight that is, right? And that was just him by hand. So he hand ripped that with a chainsaw. Yeah.
You got a track on it?
No, he doesn't. So what he does is he runs a string line, and then he runs a little score line along, and it just gives him enough of a kind of a guide to put. But still, it's very difficult to keep a nice thread cut like that. Right? They'll go for over 20 bucks a board foot, right? So you want to extract the max value out of those expensive logs, right? So. This is a class 4 So this is a mixture of sawdust, shavings, and construction waste. So the construction waste, this actually comes from the CVRD down in Victoria. And so a lot of their construction waste goes and it gets chipped into pieces like this. And then that gets fed in and goes through the hammer mill. And then the hammer mill hammers it down to a more consistent fine product. Looks more like, you know, like the finer sawdust in here as opposed to these big chunks. So what this is, this is construction waste. So when you know, excess from construction sites or when a house is being torn down, the wood, the 2x4s get sorted at I think this is done at Heartland in Victoria, at the facility there, and they separate out all the you know, the contaminated stuff with paint on it and whatnot, and they have big magnets so they can take out all the metal, all the nails comes out, and then you're left with this feedstock that then Bioflame can use to make briquettes and to fire the biomass burners, right? So this is a far different consistency than over here. We see this is a load of shavings, sawdust from a local mill. So this is also brought. This is, you know, all fluffy, nice shavings. This would not have to go through a hammer mill. This could be directly used for briquettes or as feedstock for you know, the biomass system. Yeah. Actually, a pretty cool. We have more. This is a siding profile. No, this is the tongue and groove, and then it looks like little squares.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, so it's just upside down for packaging, right? So this gets sent up to Bradner Homes up at Whistler, and there's certain stains options on there.
Yeah.
So and then the customer, they tend to have too much. They want, well, I want one with like a little bit more white and a little bit more this, and then at some point you're like, okay, well, we're starting to charge you for samples now because it's getting out of hand. You get 3. You can get 3 for free. Then it's thing. So, you know, only 3.